assuming that that girl that is receiving the money that, they watch on a daily basis is now obligated to return the favor in some way, shape, or form. And I'm pretty sure you guys
yeah, like, what do you expect her to do? If you donate money, it's literally because you have extra income and you're putting it towards it. $70,000. Who has that type of money to just throw away like that? That's crazy. Like, off of that number, I'm already knowing you're kind of sick in the head, because how do you give basically a stranger this much of your money? And then apparently maybe it got to you where it's like, man, I donated her almost my life savings and she's still not my wife. No, duh. Korean streamer killed by viewer who donated $70,000. Video by Mori. This is a tragic situation about a sickened viewer. This obsessed viewer would keep donating money to this Korean streamer. I guess he felt like his money wasn't getting to you, so he killed her for it. I don't know, man. Like, if you feel entitled to something after donating money, like, that's what, when you donate money, man, you're expecting this money to just go into the void, basically. Like, you know, if the streamer does whatever with it, but you shouldn't expect anything from donating money. But yeah, let's check out how Mori broke it down.
Now, in today's episode of Society Falling Apart at the Seams, we have a tragic story, a crazy story, in fact, of a Korean streamer by the name of Yoon Ji-Ah, who was, according to Dexerto, found dead after an attack by a longtime viewer in her live streams who donated almost $70,000 to her. And I just gotta say, this is why not all money is good money. And a lot of this money, especially in a lot of female streamers' chats donated by a lot of perilly obsessed male viewers, can be very dangerous for the women receiving this money. Objectively, time and time again, we've seen guys just go way too far. They donate a whole bunch of money, assuming that that girl that is receiving the money that, they watch on a daily basis is now obligated to return the favor in some way, shape, or form. And I'm pretty sure you guys
yeah, like, what do you expect her to do? If you donate money, it's literally because you have extra income and you're putting it towards it. $70,000. Who has that type of money to just throw away like that? That's crazy. Like, off of that number, I'm already knowing you're kind of sick in the head, because how do you give basically a stranger this much of your money? And then apparently maybe it got to you where it's like, man, I donated her almost my life savings and she's still not my wife. No, duh. You're not, none of these things where there was nowhere saying that you were going to get anything. And I know these creeps exist. It just never usually gets to this point where they murder somebody. So female content creators have to chill. Like, I've known a lot. I'm pretty sure a lot of, like, the big top content creators have had, like, incidents with stalkers, and it's scary, honestly.
Understand how predictable this story is, right? Guy donates a whole bunch of money. He's in love with her, watches her streams every day, assumes that donating tens of thousands of dollars to her, mind you, he's in serious debt. Apparently in the story, this man lost his whole house just trying to donate money to this girl, and ultimately ended up taking her life because she did not reciprocate the feelings and emotional investment that he had for her. This is why not all money is good money. Korean streamer murdered after arguing with VIP viewer who donated $70,000 to her. And before we go into the story, I just want to say a VIP viewer in a Twitch chat or any other live streaming service is basically viewers who donate so much money that after a certain point, automatically or manually, they get placed in some type of bracket or special group by the streamer to get acknowledged in the chat that, hey, this person right here chatting in our chat every day is basically a pay big. Acknowledge them. Honestly, if I ever got to that point, of which I never will, I'd be...
A lot of guys really don't donate money to streamers and things like that, but they do this in real life when they go on dates with girls. Like, a guy would dead spend maybe $300 on a date and expect 100% to get some cheeks out of it. Men do this where they expect something from the woman just because he's putting up $300. What about you don't spend $300 so that you don't expect her to give you cheeks? In my eyes, a real guy who really got the moves like that does not even have to spend that much money. Maybe he'll take a girl, maybe spend $50 maybe on on a meal or something. But you're never entitled to it, and she is not expected to give it to you. Stop being a thirsty freak out here, expecting girls to give it up just because you throw in money, like if she's basically a stripper. This guy honestly just took it to the upper echelon of freaky weirdo behavior.
very embarrassed and shamed. Like, please don't put a little icon next to my name, basically telling everybody in the chat that I'm basically a walking human ATM for you. And by the way, here's an image of the streamer, as you can see. They say a Korean streamer has been found dead and a viewer has been arrested for murder after donating tens of thousands of dollars to her. Yoon Ji-Ah, a TikToker and live streamer with over 300,000 followers, was discovered on a mountainside in Muju County, North Jeolla Province on September 11th. Her body showed signs of bruising and strangulation. So obviously this guy was very angry and very violent. Likely, if you can imagine, had her pinned down on the ground with his hands around her neck, preventing her from breathing. Police believe she was killed about 30 minutes after her final broadcast ended. And just to show you guys, as I'm on her TikTok right now, a little bit of what she does. As you can see here. Right. As someone stated in the comment section, this video was one day before she died. Here's another video.
Like, she's not posting anything that crazy.
Like a little cutesy little, kawaii type streamer. You know, a lot of Asian, Japanese, Korean, South Asian streamers tend to fit this mold, this aesthetic. They like to, do little cutesy little videos like this and fit that type of caricature. And obviously, any guy, for a lack of better words, seeing this type of content, seeing what she looks like,
gonna say SIMP,
would slowly, become parasocially obsessed. Seeing this, it's normal. I'm gonna be honest for both sexes, but sometimes a lot of people can go too far. They get ideas in their head and they start romanticizing things and they slowly fantasize about particular things that may never ever happen because A, she doesn't know you, you don't know her, really, truly. You're just another person in her chat. And I mean, good God, guys, like, I need people to fix their mental health because this is just not mentally healthy for people to get this obsessed and attached to people to the point to where they're losing their own homes, their houses, and donating $70,000.
My guy put up his whole crib just to give it to this girl, man. I've never seen no down bad. He was 50 years old. You would think at 50 years old you have some sense to you and you have some type of limit where you're like, all right, maybe the house is a little bit too much. People really take this internet stuff way too personal, man. Like, literally this type of stuff comes from you not having a real life. You not making actual connections with the people around you in your life causes you to look at your phone screen and then grow a relationship with these people you don't even know, man.
To people who they're never gonna see in real life. But in this case, he actually met up with her. Let's get back to the story. They say the suspect, a man in his 50s, identified only as Choi, was a longtime supporter who had donated roughly 100 million won, about $70,000, under the nickname Black Cat. Yeah, a man in his 50s doing that, $70,000, nickname Black Cat. Hell no. That's already sketchy. They say he allegedly told Yoon he was the CEO of an IT company, but reports later revealed he was deeply in debt and his home had been seized in a forced auction. So this man was basically LARPing as a rich, wealthy, baller kind of guy. He was LARPing, which means live action role playing. Gaming lingo. You're pretending to be something you're not. He was pretending to be a high roller. A wealthy guy with a lot of money that he can splurge on any, streamers that he wants. But apparently he's just a guy in his 50s, highly in debt, lost his home. He got mad. I guess he was trying to buy her affection. And then, as predictable as it always is, she didn't like him. She didn't want him.
They need to dissect his brain so we can see where the thought process goes. When do you think that it's too deep? You donate $5,000. You get nothing from this girl, no affection at all. What keeps you going and where are your safeguards? In his mind, he always justified to keep going. All right, she didn't give me this attention now. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give 10,000. All right, if we don't do anything at 50,000, I'ma kill her.
Based off of other reports I heard, she tried to cut ties with him after. Well, let's get back into the story. But just know that he was living kind of a double life she fell for. And as you can see here, Choi convinced Yoon to enter a business partnership with him after becoming a VIP level donor on her live streams. Keep in mind, he was pretending to be a high roller, a baller, CEO of his own company. Meanwhile, he's just a guy in his 50s who's broke as hell and lost his house. They say though, however, Yoon had recently tried to cut ties, assuming she found out about this lie, reportedly exhausted by his controlling behavior and demanding schedule. CCTV footage captured Choi kneeling and begging Yoon shortly before the killing. That is crazy. I have not seen the
gosh.
CCTV footage at all. But just to clarify here, Choi, the guy who donated this money, was on his knees kneeling, I suppose, because she wanted to cut ties, or she, may have been rejecting him at that point in time because he revealed his true feelings, his romantic advances, right? And she wanted to cut ties after finding out about this creepy ulterior motive. They say investigators believe the fatal encounter occurred at around 3:27 p.m. when Yoon was seen being pulled back into her car against her will. Her cause of death was confirmed as asphyxiation due to neck compression. So yeah, she was strangled. He had his hands around her neck and basically choked the life out of her, bro. She could not breathe. After the murder, Choi was seen carrying a suitcase and making
So from what it sounds like, they had like a somewhat IRL relationship because he was VIP. Maybe it got him access to maybe even talk to her and meet her in person, man. And that should be enough, bro. Like, this person who would have never known you existed is at least acknowledging you and talking to you. But then apparently he would make like schedules for her, and she was like, all right, this is getting too far. So it kind of sounds like it was a crime of passion and not truly like calculated. But still, bro, like, you're so down bad to do this.
Multiple stops to throw police off his trail before abandoning Yoon's body on the mountainside. He was arrested 12 hours later. While he originally denied killing the streamer, he confessed after the authorities found the body. In a couple of photos I do want to show here is the mountainside of which her body was found in the suitcase. So clearly this guy drove, into the country to abandon the body, but he was captured on CCTV. He didn't, he was too emotional to kind of plan this out. This was, I suppose, in the heat of the moment, a crime of passion. One thing I was able to find, and I couldn't translate it, obviously, because I don't know what's going on in terms of my browser extension. But now, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I was able to find was a video from a Korean media outlet. Apparently, they're coming out with a documentary surrounding how this woman died that says the death of an influencer and Jeju Pablo's pigeons, right? And in this little snippet, I was able to see some footage, blurred, of course. I guess there was some kind of investigation in Korea, and as you can see here, let me pause this, is the suitcase that was found, right? With her body found inside of it on the side of the mountain. And here, as you can see, is the footage, right? Of apparently this guy kneeling in front of her.
Kneeling on his knees.
Now, for obvious reasons, because they want to kind of hype up their documentary, they're not going to really show the clear image, right? But it's just crazy to me, bro, that this actually happened. And now people are saying, who is the VIP killer? I'm not sure if they're still hiding his identity, like his face. Here we have another Korean comment saying,
yeah, I find it so weird that like in Korea, and I think in Japan as well, they most, like, 9 times out of 10 they will like never show somebody's face of who committed the murder. I don't know why that is, man, because I would want this person to be crucified, not literally, but I would want people to kind of like, destroy him in comments and talk about him like, yo, we gotta watch out for this. It's gonna be locked up forever, so what does it really matter? But just, I guess, for people to know what to look for, and that this guy was just a regular looking guy, and that it could possibly happen to anybody.
We pray, and I'm using a browser extension, by the way. We pray for the repose of the deceased soul. Somebody said, this is what happens when you like free stuff. Let's live right. Another person said, I should have stopped my daughter from using SNS. I feel like I'm the victim, but as a parent, I should have stopped her from... I don't know what that means. Guys, this translation isn't perfect. I'm using a browser extension. Apologies. But ladies, I just gotta say, please be careful about the money you're accepting from particular people online. Like, these people are in real life, and if they're in your proximity...
And it shouldn't be like that, because that's you would consider that victim blaming. But in reality, it's like when you travel to a country, like a third world country, like let's say India, for example, you would tell a person who's going to India, like, be careful. This is a third world country. Scary things happen. It is ruthless. People will maybe grape you. People may kidnap you. You got to be careful. So when somebody goes there without information, it's like, are we victim blaming? Because it's like, you should know these things. But for example, this is a part of the streaming job. I don't put this in the same bracket. This is a streaming job. People donate money. And in people's brain, they should know that donating means, the definition of donating is the act of giving something such as money, goods, time, or blood to a cause, organization without expecting anything in return. These people should know that they shouldn't expect anything in return unless they're gonna put your name on the screen and be like, yo, top donator, but nothing else outside of that. it's weird that we live in this world and we have to kind of like shape the world around weirdos, but it's kind of like there's a little bit of merit to it where we kind of do have to be aware of these things, and it's truly sad, man. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there, but like I said, this type of stuff is scary, and it all comes from people not having an actual life and living their life through a screen. Hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed. It helps the channel grow immensely. As always, have a wonderful day. Until next time.